And then I'll press. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for joining. All right. Welcome, Mr. Sharp's history class. Welcome, Tacey. Welcome, Cindy. Thank you for being here. I'm going to quickly put a few people on mute, and feel free to unmute yourself at any point where you want to ask a question. Welcome, Daniel. Welcome, Marla. Welcome, Darren. Thanks for being here. Curtis, what's the weather like where you are today?
You know what? As is usual here in Southwest Saskatchewan, it's windy, but
It's windy.
It's a pretty warm fall. So we've had a really nice last couple of weeks, but there's always wind.
Okay, so the wind's there. I'm in Ottawa, and in Ottawa, we had the tiniest rain, like the least, imagine the least amount of rain for you to say it's raining. That's how much rain we had today.
Okay. Has it been a pretty good fall though otherwise?
Yeah, we had a warm spell, like not this weekend, not last weekend, but the weekend before that, which was pretty incredible. So, but fall's going to be great, I think.
Oh yeah. My daughter did her first year of university at the University of Ottawa.
Okay,
and
great.
Loved the area, loved the country, loved the weather, up until with the humidity in the winter made it feel colder than it was. But, she certainly did enjoy her time out in Ottawa. She just
that's great.
The University of Saskatchewan now.
Oh, okay. And did you come visit when she was here?
I did, yes, but not during the fall. That's kind of the time when, I guess that you should be there. So we took her out there to drop her off at school, and then went back out in the spring to pick her up. So we were out there twice.
Okay, got it.
But while she was there, she never did skate on the canals.
Oh, too bad. She can do it the next time she comes back.
Yeah.
We have 64 participants in the call so far.
That's sounding pretty good. I think we can get started on time.
Great.
And you'll be able to let them in, or is Sally there standing by to let people in?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to let them in all the way through, so I can take care of that.
Recording.
All right, my clock says 9 o'clock, JP. How about you? Are you ready to get rolling?
Yeah, I am. I just let in four. I just let in 4 classes. And maybe we should wait just a second as they join.
Okay.
So L. Bredner's class, I just put you on mute if you don't mind, and you keep unmuting yourself, but would you mind staying on mute just while we do the introductions, and we have questions, you can go on unmute. How's that? And I'm sorry, I don't know your name. I'm just reading your Zoom name. So thanks for your patience with that. So Curtis, the only class that's struggling to get in is Gull Lake grade 12. For some reason, it's not working. So again, L. Bredner, if you wouldn't mind staying on mute. Do you know who that is, Curtis?
Yeah, that's one of our classrooms here at the local high school.
Great, great.
Looks like she's on mute now.
No, she's not anymore. So I'm just going to keep you on mute if you don't mind, while we're doing this. So other than Gull Lake grade 12s, who for some reason like they can't seem to be joining, I think we've got 81 participants. So if you wanted to start us off, please, Curtis, go ahead.
All right, thank you so much. First of all, we would like to begin by acknowledging that we are on Treaty 4 territory, the Métis Nation. We wish to acknowledge and thank the people of the Treaty 4 region in Southwest Saskatchewan, which includes the Niconet First Nation. As we approach this National Day for Truth and Reconciliation and Orange Shirt Day tomorrow, we want to prioritize treaties, and we pay our respect to the First Nations and Métis ancestors of this place and elsewhere in Canada, and we dedicate ourselves to move forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. Now, I want to introduce you to our keynote speaker today. JP Michel is the creator of the Challenge Mindset and the founder of SparkPath. He has partnered with hundreds of school districts and post-secondary institutions to reimagine career exploration for the future of work. As an industrial organizational psychology consultant, he worked with hundreds of leaders from some of the world's largest organizations. The insights from these leaders and organizations helped shape the challenge cards, of which there are 20,000 copies being used in schools all over the world, including here in Chinook School Division. JP has a psychology degree from the University of Ottawa, a master's degree in industrial organizational psychology from the University of Manchester, and is the recipient of the 2017 Outstanding Career Professional Award from the Career Professionals of Canada. JP is a TEDx speaker whose work on careers has been featured on the BBC, CBC, and Forbes. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, JP, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Curtis, thank you for the invitation. I really feel lucky to be here. There's 95 people in this room, and that's just not individuals. We've got a lot of classrooms here. And when I sit back and think about the impact that everyone on this call is going to have on the world, it's incredible to think about. The places you're going to go, the things you will do, the way that you're going to change the world. It's quite amazing. So that's why I really feel like it's a privilege for me to get to spend this very short hour together. Before we start, can I just ask from L. Bredner, who's the teacher leading that class? Curtis, do you know, I hate addressing this person by L. Bredner, I'd rather know their name. Do you know this person's name, Curtis?
Yeah, Lorene, are you there? Yeah. They switched out my hard drive last week and I was having
Lorene?
Hey, Lorene, can you hear us? Curtis, do you mind if I remove her from the meeting just for the moment, and you can help her join back in?
I'll do that. Yeah, I'll give the school a phone call.
Okay, great. So I'm going to remove her. Okay, great. You know what? I'll just wait a second, Curtis, because I don't know if she can join if I remove her, but I think she's working with an IT person and they might not know that they're removing the audio. They keep doing unmute, but maybe that they can't hear us or something like that. I'm not sure.
Okay, I will give the school a phone call.
Thank you, Curtis. I appreciate it. So back to everyone who's here. It's great to think about the incredible lives that you're about to lead, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about. I'm here to talk to you about your future, the impact that you want to have on the world and how to get there. I think you've been told all sorts of wonderful stories about what life looks like after high school. And I'm here to give you quite a few insights about how that might be different than what you expect. And I think that the best way to start that is by sharing a story of my own, to tell you more about who I am, what I believe in. And this story is really about me, okay? It's not the same as your story, okay? You might see yourself in my story, you might not. I know you all have your different stories. So I want you to have that context before walking in, but I'm sharing this with you because it will help you see where I'm coming from, okay? So let's get started. When I was a bit younger than you are, I went through something difficult while I was in school. It was unpleasant, but it ended up having a positive impact on my life. And I'm going to share that story with you. And you get to pick what you like about this story, okay? Leave the rest that you don't like. What I ask is that you try, connect, listen, go deep. And by going deep, by investing your attention, see what that investment of energy will get you back, will get you in return. What will you get from this? So it starts off with me standing beside a pool. I'm looking at the surface of the water. My best friend is already in the water. Well, I thought it was my best friend. More on that later. There was another person standing really close to me, another guy. He's also getting ready to jump in. And these two guys for the last hour had been insulting me. Were they teasing me? Was it normal? Was it my fault? I don't know. It's confusing. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Well, I guess I was reluctant to jump into the pool, right? I was hesitating and my friend was egging me on, jump in, jump in, jump in. So I'm looking at him. And little did I know that the person behind me was positioning themselves really close. They were sneaking up on me, really. And when I realized what was happening, it was already too late. I looked behind me and coming in full force, full stride, he was running. He pushed me into the pool. And since I turned at the last second, like to avoid him, that actually made things worse because I fell not just into the pool, but on the side of the pool. So half my body hit the water, half my body hit the cement. So the side of the pool, like the cement, would leave this nasty bruise right on my side as a reminder of what happened that day. I was upset, right? I was crying. I took my towel, I ran inside the house, I was going home, I wanted to leave. And that person who I thought was my friend yelled at me to dry off before going in the house. And I couldn't believe that they did that. To me, this is the worst part of the story. In that moment, they had a complete lack of compassion for me. He prioritized his dry floors in his house instead of me and my well-being. And that's the moment that I knew it was over. The friendship, that circle of friends, I mean, it's over. And this was a shock. These guys had been my friends for years. What was I going to do now? Who would I be without them? Where would I sit at lunch every day? In a way, I needed to become a new person. I needed to change. This was not the right friend group for me. So I had to do something different. And I did. And it was a fantastic decision that wasn't easy to do at the time. I left that friend group. The next few days at school were hard. Making new friends is hard, but it was worth it. What about you in your life? What kind of changes have you already made? What decisions have you made to create the person that you are today? When this happened to me, it was more than change. I had to create a new identity. You can call this reinvention. And it turns out that creating your identity, making decisions, and changing are extremely important factors in creating the life that you want. And it's these same factors that will help you create a great life and a great career. It turns out that most of you will spend 80,000, 100,000, or 120,000 hours in school and work. That's most of your life. So today I'm going to talk to you about how you can start today to create a great life and a great future. And we're going to start by talking about what holds you back from creating a great life and a great future. And to get us started, I want to know if you're ready. Are you ready to start? If you're ready to start, please write in the Zoom chat. Please write, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do it. Anything. I need you to send me some energy before we start the session. This is a good time to practice using your Zoom and your Zoom chat skills. Mr. Sharp's history class, you were the fastest to reply. You're saying, we're ready, we're ready. I love it, we're ready, ready, let's go. Energy, thank you for that energy. Thank you, Zoe, thank you, Curtis. Oh, I'm feeling it, let's go, we're ready. Oh man, you guys are awesome, 30. I can't keep up. Your messages are flying in, I love it, I love it, I love it. Okay, so Sarah, I'm just gonna put you on mute if you don't mind, just to keep the audio really tight. Okay, so today I'm going to share some slides with you that explain how to create a great life now and in the future. And these slides, Curtis is going to make them available for you in the same website where you found this link. Okay, so I'm actually putting them in the Zoom link as well. Some of you will want to follow. Some of you like following my Google Slides. Please feel free to do that. And for those who are just looking through your screen, I'm going to share using Zoom. So you might be able to see my slide already, what they don't tell you about life after high school. My background is in a type of psychology that studies the workplace. It's called industrial organizational psychology. Don't worry, I had never heard about this before. I think my third year or second year in university. And I got to work with all these different companies, some of the most loved companies in the world, some of the most hated companies in the world. And out of everything I learned, I used that to create my own company. My company is called Spark Path. You see the purple logo in the middle there? That's the company I created. So I'm an entrepreneur. Then I'm going to tell you about Anna's story. I'm going to tell you about exploring challenges instead of job titles. And I'm going to talk to you about how you can create your future, a great future. And my promise is that I'm going to work very hard for your attention, for your imagination. I'm going to ask you some tough questions. And I'm going to answer your tough questions. That means you probably have to think of tough questions. One way that I find very helpful to do that is to write down what stands out to you. For some of you, that's really easy. You're at your computer, you can write it down there. For some of you, you already have a piece of paper out and you've got your pen or pencil. And some of you don't. So you might want to take that out because I'm going to ask you to do some exercises that will help you get the most out of the session. So you're going to get to make choices during today's session through the chat. You're going to get to ask questions. And eventually, I want you to think about what will you do differently as a result of this talk? What's one thing that you're going to do differently as a result of this talk? So now that you've got that in the back of your mind, let that sit and let your subconscious work on that while we're working together. So instead of telling you the punchline at the end, I'm going to tell you at the beginning and at the end. The three messages that I want you to remember from this talk that's titled What They Don't Tell You About Life After High School is that number one, you can choose the challenges you work on. Number two, you should learn to contribute to the challenges you care about. And number three, the world needs you. Now, I have to prove this to you. Let's do it. So, a lot of you have been told, that you need to pick a job title. I want to know how many different job titles you know about. Do you know what a job title is? Like police officer, lawyer, doctor, engineer, plumber, investigator. How many job titles do you know about? Do you know 5, 15, 20? Do you know more than that? Like, can you put a number in the Zoom chat? I want to find out how many job titles you know so far. Take a guess. Who's going to answer here? Logan, you got 6 or 7. Perfect. Great. No, you know 1. Who else? Who knows more than 6 or 7? Matthew, you know about 20, right? One guess for 27. But Mr. Sharp's history class said 100. Here's 25, 20. You know 400. Wow, that's a big list. That's a big list. Good for you. 3,207. I like the guesses, by the way. You really get the point of this exercise. It's not, you don't know exactly how many you know unless we wrote them down. I'm not going to do that. I love your guesses though. Dawson, you know 1,000. That's a lot. McKenna, more than 30. Matthew, about 401. Oh, that makes me think of The Price is Right. Cindy got even higher than you. She said 431. 515. Did everybody weigh in on this? Do you know your number? Are you sure? Of course you know more than one, sir. Come on now. Okay, let's go to the next question. How many different job titles are there in the world? How many job titles are out there? What's your guess for this? I don't want you to answer a lot because I bet it's a lot, but I think we all agree on that. Is it an infinite amount? I would argue that currently, you could probably count the number of people. Too many to count. Yeah, it would be hard to count thousands. Someone guessed 570,000. Just Google it. That's what I'm going to interpret that message. Millions. Listen, you guys are dreaming big, but I think you know exactly where I'm going. And thank you for playing along. You really get it. 4 billion, as many as adults. Well, Cindy, some adults are doing the same job. So I would say, let's just count how many jobs there are out there first. In my research, what I've seen is that there are at least 20,000 job titles out there. Now, some of these job titles are could be split up, considering differences between the two of them, but it's kind of hard to measure. But just for us to start, I want to show you the huge gap that we just identified between what you know and what's out there. Did you see that? And all your teachers can play along, okay? All your teachers can play along. I want to play along. How many job titles do I know and how many are out there? There are so many out there, aren't there? This is not the only issue with job titles. I want to show you more. Not only are there too many to keep track of, the ones we do know about, they tend to focus on prestige. Prestige means like it sounds great, sounds fancy, doctor, lawyer, wow. They tend to focus on we tend to know jobs that pay well. We also know that job titles will change. Some don't even exist yet. Can you tell me why job titles are changing? Can you tell me why some job titles don't exist yet? Please take a guess. This is the type of talk where I want you to take guesses. I want you to answer questions. You've never been asked this before. You don't know the answer, but I'd love your best guess on why are job titles changing? Somebody already wrote back. Cindy said technology. Why would she say that? Well, let me take a guess. Technology is changing. You all see that, right? Like the quality and speed and power of technology is changing. So that probably creates new jobs. So Cindy, you're right. Nickel 36, changes in society. You're adding that to the answer. What our society wants, does, thinks, believes, that's evolving constantly as well. So you're right. Jonathan, you got the tech part as well. So did you. Changes in medicine, society. A lot of you understood that part about society and tech. Very, very good job. New inventions, people change. So society as a whole, people change. Yes, you're right. Laws change. You guys are so sharp. New events in the world, things that haven't happened yet. That's going to inspire new jobs. The world changes. That's great. You guys are doing great. Listen, I worked with a lot of hiring managers, people in companies that hired others. Some of them worked in jobs in the area that's called human resources. And they told me that they were struggling to write job titles. They were struggling to write job descriptions because of the same reasons you gave. Things in the world and tech and society are changing so fast, it's hard for them to adapt. Now, be careful. If you prepare for your future by choosing one job title, you're going to run into all of these issues. So today, I want you to think about your future differently, not just about picking one job title. I want you to think about it this way. Think about the problems, challenges, and opportunities you'd like to work on. What do I mean by that? Well, here's some cool problems. How can we clean our oceans? How can we increase the learning that's happening between different generations? How can we celebrate different cultures? These are big global problems that we can work on. I bet you could come up with your own list too. What about local problems? How can we improve our park? How can we build furniture that lasts? How can we encourage people to vote in our neighborhood? There are so many issues for you to work on. In fact, I'd like to know which ones you want to work on. So let's play a game. Can you tell me if you'd rather work on the challenge of inventing new biotechnology or promoting healthy living? You're going to write this down or send it to me in the chat. Okay. Those of you who can't write in the chat with your teacher, I want you to take a vote in the class. So your teachers could ask you, those of you who want to invent new biotechnology, raise your hand. And those of you who want to promote healthy living, then you take your turn and raise your hand. So we're actually going to pick a winner between these two challenges. I want to see the most popular one. Which challenge would you rather work on? So you've already had a chance to think about it. And C. Clement, 43, you answered first, I believe, and you picked biotechnology. That's great. Mr. Sharp's history class did this quickly. Wow, it felt like 2-1. Most people picked healthy living. So in that class, healthy living is definitely the winner. Let's see what else we got. Promote healthy living seems to be really popular. Are you seeing all those chat messages? Cindy Lowe's class is split 50-50. Thank you for sharing. That's good to know. Casey, you picked biotech. I've got 3 for bio, 2 healthy. Really good. Bio, healthy, bio. Healthy living, 2 advanced. Ooh, someone's making some connections there. Very good. Healthy living. Listen, my biotech folks, it looks like healthy living is outpacing you slightly. You've got a lot of votes for biotech, but I think we've got more for promote healthy living. Class was an even split. Okay, well, that's a problem. That's a problem. We would love to hear from someone. Why did you pick the challenge you picked? Okay, so can we take a second here? Would there be a brave volunteer to tell me, why did you pick promote healthy living? Or why did you pick invent new biotechnology? So there's all sorts of ways you can do that in the Zoom chat. You can actually raise your hand probably. You can tell me in the chat that you want to answer. You can unmute yourself and share your answer. What we're looking for is one person to just quickly tell us, why did you pick that challenge? Who wants to volunteer today? I mean, I get it, it takes some courage, but just speak from your heart. Speak from your heart. Why did you pick that? Why does that challenge speak to you more than the other one? What you'll quickly discover is that there's no right or wrong answer here because it's what you pick, it's what you like. So let's see here. Anybody want to take a stab at it? S. Deckerson, I want to live a long time. Oh, very good.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, Stephen.
Oh,
This is actually Brody, my student.
hi.
Oh, hey, Brody. Thanks for volunteering. That's really cool of you to do that. Would you like to tell us which challenge you picked and why?
I chose biotech.
Can you tell us, first of all, there's a lot of people that have never heard that word before. What do you know about that word that you can tell us what it is? And then please tell us how you decided to choose it.
It's abbreviated word for biotechnology.
And I don't know if everyone will get it. Do you think people will get it? Like technology about biology do you think that's enough?
Well, yeah, sometimes there are complicated concepts about this thing, but the words and things. Sorry, I'm not good with talking.
No, you don't have to be. Tell us why you picked this one. Why did it speak to you?
I just feel like there's more diversity within this class or class of biotech, that there's more chances you can take within it.
Interesting. So you're thinking about diversity of options, things to work on. You're thinking about chances. That's great. Anything else?
Nope.
Love it. Thank you, Brody. Love your courage to volunteer. Okay, so thanks a lot. Let's talk about this. So imagine this, okay? And I don't know if this is the part that Brody likes. There's so many parts to this, as he said, there's so much diversity. I'll give you one example. We're just learning about your gut microbiome. You can touch your stomach, okay? In your stomach, it's full of really healthy, important bacteria. We had no idea how important this bacteria was. We're just learning about how important it is, okay? Your gut microflora. In the future, technology will be building smaller and smaller robots, nanotechnology, nanorobots, nanobiology. Imagine a tiny device in your gut, in your stomach, actively monitoring the quality of your bacteria in your gut, because that is, maybe we'll find out that it's one of the best predictors of good health. This is an example of biotechnology. I bet you if I asked Brody, he was thinking about something else, and he's right, there's a lot of diversity here. So thank you for sharing that example. Here's another example that came from the chat. My student said she picked healthy living as a priority because if you are healthy, then health costs are lower and we won't need the biotech as much. Interesting. I like that you've got the financial aspect of this. You're comparing the two challenges. Teachers, when we listen to our students talk about the challenges they pick, what do we hear? Well, some of you got this by transcribing the answers, but you can learn people's values. You learn their experiences, their systems of beliefs. You hear their stories. You hear about their families, the communities that they're in. You hear about their skills. It's fascinating to listen to why people pick certain challenges. Here's another answer. Biotech, since healthy living is already followed by a portion of population, and biotech is something we can learn more to benefit us in the future. It's very interesting to learn about people's answers. Okay, we did it. And healthy living won by popular vote. So guess what? It's time to move on. We've got to move on. So what are we moving on to? The next set of challenges. This time, you're going to choose between the following two challenges. Would you rather improve mental health or design the future of transportation? So please send me your votes in the chat. Let's find out who's going to win round two. Is it improve mental health or design the future of transportation? And could we have another brave volunteer, just like Brody, right away to step up and tell us using the unmute function, why did they choose that challenge? I'd love to know. So who's going to share their answer with us this time? Well, you guys are quick this time. You really get it. Okay, mental health, mental health. We've got a few transportation, but it looks like mental health is really dominating so far. Good job on counting the votes quickly in the classroom, teachers. That's terrific. I love it. So who's going to volunteer here to share why they picked which challenge? 8-5, 2/3. Okay, so Catherine says, because you can't do anything if you aren't in a good mental state. Mitchell says, you can risk your life if mental health doesn't come first. I'm hearing the prioritization. What's most important? What's most important? And when I hear what's most important, I hear what's most important to you. That's your point of view in the world. So I'm going to see, we've got a user with your hand up. Please go ahead, and if you know how to unmute yourself. Yes.
This camera? That camera.
Thanks for volunteering.
So why would you, improve mental health, design the future of transport? Let me tell you about Elon Musk, the greatest man in the history of all time. He designs the future of transport and electricity and everything else, and he's a billionaire. Who's the greatest mental health improver? None of us have any idea. That's why I'd rather design the future of transport than improve mental health.
Okay, thank you. And what's your name?
Jacob.
Jacob, thank you for your answer. A round of applause for Jacob. Thank you. So, I mean, Jacob is already improving what I said. Not only do you hear people's values when you listen to why they choose a challenge, you can learn about their heroes. So if Jacob made a list of the top 3 things he likes about Elon Musk, right? I don't know what Jacob's going to say. His ambition, his skill, the way he thinks about the world, his intelligence. You can learn a lot about Jacob and the person he wants to become. He doesn't need to become Elon Musk exactly, but he can embody those characteristics that he admires. And we got that just by listening to the challenge that he chose, which is fantastic. Thanks, Jacob, for having the courage to do that. Okay, so here's some other answers that came in the chat. Mental health is increasingly important due to COVID. There's a sustainable weight of transportation. Mental health is an ongoing concern. Some people said that mental health is all encompassing. So you really hear about people's priorities when you do this. Okay, we're playing this game, and this is what I call the game, challenge face-off. You can play this game in your classroom for as many rounds as you want. And what's fascinating is if you actually get a chance to listen to the reasons people gave for choosing their challenges. But I like to play this game for not just an engaging classroom activity, but for a really deep purpose. I want to share the following message with you. If you don't choose the challenges you want to work on, someone else will choose for you. Let me tell you again. If you don't choose the challenges you want to work on, someone else will choose for you. Some of you thought, why am I going to this talk about careers? I already know what I want to do. I want to be an engineer. Fine. What are you going to do when you graduate? Will you apply to 100 companies and just send your resume to anyone who will have you? What are the odds that those companies are aligned with your values? What are the odds that those companies are working on the challenges that you care about? Today, what I'm asking you to do is to purposefully choose challenges that you want to work on. Once you do that, the benefits that you'll get today and in the future are tremendous. So the first thing I wanted to tell you is that you can choose the challenges that you want to work on. That's one of the first messages from today's talk. You got it with me? Let's keep going. This approach that I just told you about is completely different than what you've been told before. I think you've been told the following. When it comes to your future, I think your parents asked you, well, what's your favorite class? If you like math, then we'll say, oh, you can study accounting. If you study accounting, you can become an accountant. And you work for a company full of accountants, a firm of accountants, and then eventually, once you've been working for 10 years, you actually realize, what's the problem that I'm working on? What's the challenge that an accountant works on? Maybe at this particular company, the challenge you're working on is helping companies pay the least amount of taxes possible. And maybe you hate that. Maybe it's boring, or maybe you love it. I don't know, but it took you so long to get there. My invitation for you today is to flip this model. Start with challenges first. Discover inspiring challenges that exist in the world today. Then go find out which companies are working on that now. Who works there? And what do they have to learn to be able to do that? And then you can start today. Like, you can literally choose your classes next semester to help you learn something important that will help you work on the challenge that you care about. There's no reason why you have to wait. Let me give you an example. I work with Anna to help her figure out what she wanted to do next. So she really had what I would call a job title mindset. This means I'm trying to pick one job for the rest of my life. I said, Anna, don't do that. You're not going to do one job for the rest of your life. The odds are really, 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 really small that you'll do that. I want you to have a challenge mindset. Okay, this is a challenge mindset. So I asked her, listen, what are the big problems in the world? And to help her do that, because that's a tough question, right? To help her do that, I said, take this magazine. I just gave her a magazine called The Economist. I said, just look through the whole magazine and find what interests you. This is what she picked. Do you see that green colored water? That's a specialized algae that's being used to clean polluted waterways, polluted because of an oil spill. That's a cool problem to solve. At least it's cool to Anna, just like designing the future of transportation is cool to Jacob, right? Depends on you, but you get to pick. This is what Anna picked. And we worked backwards. We said, who's working on this? Okay, hypertrophic, they're owned by Algal Scientific. We find all their information online quite easily. We look at who works there. This is even listed online, the people who work there. What did they have to learn to be able to do that? And it turns out that most of them had studied materials, science, and engineering. I had never heard about that. She had never heard about that. But we discovered it through the challenge mindset. And she started researching materials, science, and engineering. And she said, wow, that's pretty cool. I can work in industry and consulting and education. There are opportunities for women in engineering that appeal to me. And she decided to study this. This is a picture of Anna in her lab when she started studying material science and engineering. She went to Penn State. I was living in Pittsburgh in the US at the time, and that's really close to Penn State. That's where she decided to go. So short term, do you see how it helped her understand like what's going on in the world? It also helped her see what should I study after high school. Long term, even more importantly, Anna's changed because now she's always looking for problems to solve. Like she's consistently looking for new challenges and opportunities. So just like you said earlier, when technology changes the world, when society changes the world, when people change the world, et cetera, when the world changes, Anna's going to keep evolving. She'll keep finding new challenges to work on. She will not be stuck doing one thing for the rest of her life. That's Anna's story. Anna now, she's still in material science and engineering. She's doing her PhD at Stanford. And that's really the area that really stuck with her. Now, we talked about Anna, but that's what Anna picked. It could be anything. What if you were the type of person that wanted to make something that matters using big machines? Those are the challenges you want to work on. Maybe you're going to work for Boeing. Boeing makes jets. That's one of the things that they do. And you see that, okay, well, at Boeing, they've got some jobs offered there. Oh, aircraft technician. That would be cool. I'm going to go study to be an aircraft technician. There's a college program just for that, with an apprenticeship. I'm going to jump in. That's one of the ways you can use the challenge mindset. So I want you to tell me about this concept, the challenge mindset that you just learned about. How would it help you? Can you write down on a piece of paper how the challenge mindset would help you? How using this challenge mindset could help you in your life? You're going to write this down on a piece of paper, and writing it down is going to help you really crystallize, well, what did I learn from this presentation today? What does this really mean? What does it mean to me? So I challenge you to write it down now. And those of you who would like to share in the chat, that would really be really helpful to share it in the chat, because you might have learned something today that somebody else didn't think about. And just by sharing your answer, they're automatically going to get that insight just because you shared it. So I'm going to give you a moment now. You're going to think about how it helped you, and then you're going to consider sharing it with others. So please go ahead. So we got a really practical example right off the bat. Find employment. I think you all know what that means, right? You can find a co-op, you can find a job. Let me tell you why. I hire people, and I've met with a lot of hiring people. If you show up to a job application, a job interview, if you submit, that resume and cover letter you've heard about, if I understand the challenges this company is trying to solve, and I know how I can help, you're going to stand out from all the other candidates who are applying who don't know the challenges they're working on and who don't know how they're going to help. So if you can just simply say, hey, I know you're trying to make your customers have their best customer experience ever. And I can help you do that because I understand how to listen to people and to provide a solution to their problems. Those 3 sentences I just gave you will help you stand out compared to all the other candidates in your job interview, on your cover letter, and your resume. And of course, you can add more detail, but I love that suggestion about finding more employment because I think using the challenge mindset is very helpful to help you find employment. So great suggestions. Previously, when my student thought of challenges, she didn't relate it to the career she would be doing. Now she relates it to the career she is seeking, which is great. And that career can evolve because there's a lot of different ways to contribute to challenges. Zoe said to become a better person and an employee. I like that answer because you might choose a challenge that helps you grow as a person. I definitely think education and careers can be used to help you become a better person. I'm a leader now. I have employees that work for me, and I have to become a better person because I have to become a better leader. And they give me feedback on how well I'm doing, how clearly I communicate, how well I give them feedback. And they tell me what I'm not doing well too. And I think that helps me become a better person. Thanks, Zoe, for that. Maintain motivation in your career. I got to tell you, just like a lot of people are disengaged at school, a lot of people are disengaged in their careers. And the challenge mindset approach I'm telling you about today puts you at the heart of the process because you decide what you want to work on, and you can make decisions with purpose and meaning in mind. Like, what's purposeful for you? What's meaningful for you? And that certainly will help you have more motivation in your career. I should tell you that the problem that I'm working on now, the challenge I'm working on now, is helping people like you prepare for a meaningful career and a meaningful life. I love that challenge. I'm very motivated. I love my family. I have 2 young kids and a wife that I tremendously love. I love being with them, and I love working. I love working a lot. And one of the biggest reasons behind that is because I really believe and care about the challenge I'm working on. I got to choose it. I got to choose it and build a company to help me do that. Matthew, it'll help me motivate towards my goals. Fantastic. Yep. Your goal might be to feed the world. That's a tremendous goal. So what are you going to do, Matthew? I'm telling you, today, go find companies that are working on feeding the world. Next, look at who works there, Matthew. You decide who's cool. You're going to find a lot of people that work there. You decide who's cool. Jacob picked Elon Musk. You might pick someone else. Then look at what did they have to learn to be able to do that. And then find out, oh, this is how I want to feed the world. I want to study biology because I want to understand how to develop better crops so that they're more efficient and they die less often. And that generates more food, feeds more people. Maybe you are going to say, no, JP, you don't know me at all. I actually want to be the CEO of a food transportation company because so much of our food waste happens when going from farm to the grocery store. That's where a lot of food waste happens. Maybe that's what you want to fix, Matthew. You get to pick, sir. And the other thing I wanted to tell you, Matthew, is that those people that you find, you should reach out to them because they would probably love to tell you their story. They'd love to tell you their secrets about how they got where they are. They probably love to give you advice about what you need to, where you need to go, what you need to learn. And I've done that throughout my life, and I really recommend it. Even though it's scary, it's worth it. I should tell you, there's some people that would love to speak to you. Mrs. Hassett says, to find your passion in a career you enjoy and love, not just a job. Great. And I should tell you that your career is going to change and evolve. And as you change, what you enjoy and what you love is actually going to change, which is a bit hard to believe, but look at yourselves now. You've already changed. You didn't just change because you were young and you're becoming an adult. You're going to keep changing as an adult. And I don't think you hear that message often enough. Makes us look at jobs we maybe didn't think about or knew existed. I hope so, because you only knew a fraction of the jobs. I only know a fraction of the jobs. Your teachers only know a fraction of the jobs. Your parents only know a fraction of the jobs. I hope you keep broadening your horizons to look at what's out there. Help to find a career that you're passionate about rather than a job you're stuck in. Well said. Do you think personal success is based more on motivation or discipline? Oh, what a great question. Who asked that? You get 5 points for asking that. Here's my advice on that question. Anytime I ask myself a dichotomous questions, I don't even know if that's a word, dichotomous, dichotomy. That means 2 options. I know that I'm not asking the right question. Okay. So that's how it happens in my life. That might not be true for you, but as soon as I see a question with two answers like this, is it motivation or discipline? I know I might not be asking the right way. So my take on the question would be, you need both. So you may be someone who invests a lot in developing discipline, systems of habit, or you might be someone who invests a lot in motivation and fueling yourself and resting to be motivated and being inspired to be motivated. But I think ultimately you can choose which one you use the most. I think both are really important. And I personally work on being more disciplined and being more motivated all the time. And being more motivated is actually an investment. You have to invest time to motivate yourself, and it counts. Love the question. Thank you. Sarah, it could help me keep motivation in my job instead of getting bored of it, so I might not feel like I'm going nowhere. Yeah, it can be hard, especially in your first job. Like you feel like you're going nowhere. But at least when you know the challenge you're working on now, the next challenge you want to work on, you can at least build a path to get there. Listen, your questions, comments, they're fantastic. I love the energy and the thoughtfulness you're bringing to this session. And I want to give you a few more examples to bring this idea to life so that I know that you can use this in the future. Here's a challenge that we haven't talked about yet. Engineer better medicine. Who does that? Is it a doctor? Maybe. Is it a scientist? Picture them. They're wearing a white lab coat, right? A chemist, a biologist, I don't know. You might be right, but you forgot a few people. What about the finance leader? Finance, the money leader, the person who makes the budget, the person who went and got all the money needed to develop a new medicine. That's a very important person for this challenge. What about the project manager that's keeping everyone on task? They're giving deadlines. They're making sure everyone's meeting their deadlines. What about the human resources manager who knows people and they were able to hire a team that really works well together? What about the person designing the lab equipment? What about the person who's designing the logo for the new medicine? What about the person cleaning the lab? Those people all contribute to solving this challenge. In the real world, it takes an interdisciplinary approach to work on a challenge. And that's why you have a lot of freedom in how you work on the challenge that you care about. Now, the second thing that I want you to get out of this talk is that you get to learn to contribute to the challenges you care about. Of course, the obvious example is post-secondary because you get to choose, an apprenticeship. You get to go to college, community college, you get to go to university. But the reality is that you get to learn today. If you think that communication skills, how you write, how you think, how you talk, will help you contribute more to the challenge. Sorry, Zandra, I'm just going to put you on mute. If you think that your English class can give you better communication skills, then you're learning today to contribute more to the challenge that you care about. And that's something you should realize, that preparing your great life, it starts right away. It doesn't have to wait till after you graduate high school, after you graduate college, right? So that was the second choice. And Anna really lived a transformation that a lot of you, I hope, will live just through this, very short amount of time we spent together. Some of you are feeling discouraged and stuck. I hope this will make you be engaged in taking action, because you can easily use tools to find challenges to work on. Some of you already have used the challenge cards, which all the challenges I showed you today are on the challenge cards. Some of you will go use a magazine like Anna did and pick their favorite article. Some of you will just look at the news and you'll pick a piece of news that you'll like and you'll look at, well, what's the problem I want to work on? I hope this helps broaden your horizons. I hope today we prepared you to be adaptable, to take ownership of your future. You get to pick, and you don't have to be right. I am encouraging you today to pick a challenge, but I am very, very open to you making mistakes. I started university to do sports psychology. Do you know sports psychology? I wanted to give athletes mental skills so they could perform better. Concentration, visualization, relaxation, focus. So imagine every major sports team, Olympic athletes, they have access to sports psychologists. So this is what I wanted to do. And I changed my mind. I discovered industrial organization psychology, work psychology, and I adapted to that. And this type of change is okay. It's going to happen to you too. I hope that you can get to focus on purpose and impact as well, just like Anna did. And the message that you should know also is that the world needs you, because there's so many problems to fix in the world. And I hope that gives you a sense of hope. Hope that you count, hope that you can make a difference, hope that you're needed out there. And I really believe this, that the world needs you, because just look around you. There's so many things to fix, and you get to choose what you want to fix. And that's the third message I wanted to share with you today, that the world needs you. So I was really inspired to find the challenge I wanted to solve by this quote. This is from Jamie Cassapp, who was Google's education evangelist. And he said, don't ask kids what they want to be when they grow up. Ask them what problems they want to solve and what they need to learn to be able to do that. You probably see a lot of what I said today embedded in that quote, right? And I started doing this, like, just as Jamie said, but I started asking people, what's the problem you want to solve? And students had no idea what to say. I didn't know what to say, because it's a hard question to answer, right? But I thought, I'll just give you examples. It's really easy to fix. So I looked at examples, like all these lists of problems to solve, books about the future, futurists. I read, I talked to people, and I made this really amateur deck of cards. This is my own hand drawing. And then I got a professional designer to make them pop and come to life. And these are the cards that you saw. And that's how the challenge cards were born in 2017. And they help people go from what we today call the job title mindset, where you look at, well, what's the right job? How can I decide on the best job for me? And success means you're committed to one thing for the rest of your life. I want you to do something else. I want you to explore challenges. I want you to learn all sorts of skills that help you contribute. And success is actually you being ready to adapt, not being committed to one thing forever. And that's the challenge mindset in a nutshell. So these are the big three messages I shared with you. I hope this helps you take the next step in your life and helps you create a great career and great life. If you have questions about this, you can email me and I'll email you back at jp@mysparkpath.com. But for the purposes of today's session, I want to stop early so that we can hear your questions, comments, reactions. So I'd love for you to submit your questions right away in the chat to tell me what you thought about today's talk. And if someone wants to unmute themselves, I'll be happy to do that. And maybe a good reflection question for you to start is, what was your favorite part of the presentation? And if you write down your answer, that's going to help you remember, what did you get out of today? Right? I asked you, what's the one thing you'll do differently as today? Maybe that's related to your favorite part. So I'm going to copy paste that in the chat. And then I'd love to get your feedback on what you thought was most useful out of today's session. What was your favorite part of the presentation? So thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your energy. Thanks for your participation in the challenge face-off that we played. I hope your teachers will play the challenge face-off with you if that's interesting for you, because it's a great way for them to highlight the important work that they're doing. You've got a math teacher that knows that math is really important in the world. And it's great when they prove it to you. When they prove it, look, here's how math would help you work on this important challenge you care about. So that's really great. So someone says they enjoyed the challenge card. Someone else said they enjoyed the voting. They love talking about Elon Musk, the challenge mindset. Thanks for all the great information. Really enjoyed the voting. I mean, it's fun when you get to play, when you get to participate, when you get to choose. You did it today with me, but I want you to do it forever, for the rest of your career, because you get to choose what you work on. So you get to vote in that sense. Gull Lake, really like Brody and Jacob. Thanks for being courageous, Brody and Jacob, and taking on that challenge. And this is the part of the presentation where you get to ask me some questions, some tough questions, some easy questions. I'd love to hear what you're thinking about, or what you found that's still not clear about what I shared. Thanks, Marla. Everything was clear, great. Man, I wonder what it's like to be in a classroom with you guys right now. I'd love to be there with all of you, but I'm really glad you're able to join online. Thank you for the session. Love your energy. Oh, thank you. Thank you from the Valmary School. Hey, you're welcome. Thank you for participating and coming with all this great energy. I really loved hearing from all you guys. What's the building that I'm in? I'm in Ottawa in Canada, and I'm in a co-working space, and it's called Co-workly. Co-workly. Some of you, your teacher will pull it up and you'll see exactly where I am in the world. It's called Co-workly in Vanier. And it's a co-working space that I share with, all sorts of other people that are working on other, challenges, problems, and opportunities. Good question. A new mindset. We feel much more accomplished in life after high school. Thank you. We need a few more rounds to drive home the challenge mindset. I love it. That's great. Yes. I've seen classes do it for the whole hour with discussions, right? What's the challenge? Why did I pick it? You can start with 16 challenges. You could do the NHL playoffs, right? 16 challenges. You got a big final at the end, and then you pick a big winner. So I think that would be fantastic if you got a chance to do that even more. So Curtis, we're at 2 minutes to the top of the hour. I'd love to let everyone out a minute early if it's possible, but I'll give you the floor to decide how to proceed.
No, thank you so much, JP. First of all, I just want to thank you for all the preparation and work that you did to help us out today. I really like how you started with what questions do you have? I think that's a great place for students to start, and then having them look beyond job titles to challenges that they would like to be part of the solutions. I noticed at one point, I'm not sure how many it got up to, but the highest I noticed was 98 participants. And so, if you multiply that by, or at least a good portion of those by 20 or 25 students in different schools and classrooms, we had a lot of kids and adults. And I even noticed a few outside of our organization who had logged in too. So thank you to all of the schools and the teachers out there for organizing this and having your students be involved with this. And I just thank you for the challenge to help to have us step up to the challenge, and for your engaging talk that you had today, and for the participation from all the classrooms out there too. So with that, I'm going to sign us all off here, and thank you so much, JP, and everybody. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Curtis. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Great to meet you all. All the best.